Hello there, you griefers. You're not reading the title wrong, and certainly not dreaming. The objective of these series is to do a quick-fire review of every single weapon in the game. Of course, with a PvP-focused approach, since a PvE list already exists, and even has a video reviewing said video.
A review.
Inside of
A review.
That's like 16
Reviews.
I'm rating the weapons in a scale of 1 to 10 with some variations to keep your ADHD in check, and the weapon's rating will be within its own class since there is no point in comparison between the best thrusting sword and the best perfume bottle. Do not take this ratings at heart, since opinions on these weapons may change depending on the point of view of each player. Remember that we have two kinds of people: invaders who make thematic builds, or the ones that only use meta. If you have a different opinion about a weapon, I invite you to post it in the comments so we can discuss it in a reasonable manner. Enough yapping and on with the reviews. It has a nice critical multiplier, but sadly, this is just filler. The only reason this is on your inventory is because you accidentally killed a foot soldier. 4 out of 10. In these modern days, 90% of the daggers can do the same. Filler out of 10.
And killed him in one hit. The game is too easy, kids.
10 out of 10. Great for blender builds, and that's it. 8 out of 10.
That's a knife.
No one used this shit out of 10. A nice side weapon for pure fate builds. Goated R2 out of 10. If you use it as intended, it'll make your weapon worse. A good dagger nonetheless. 9 out of 10. No one used this shit out of 10. Absolute ass. No one used this shit out of 10. Every dagger can do the same.
He does exactly what I do, but better.
5 out of 10. It works amazing in both main and offhand. 10 out of 10.
I got a Glock in my Rari.
7 out of 10. A good weapon that was only used for spamming purposes. L2 out of 10. It has the power to abuse the shitty netcode. 7 out of 10. This is just a black knife, but worse. Reskinned weapon out of 10. This is the best dagger in the game. Power creep out of 10. If you use it as intended, it'll make your weapon worse. 5 out of 10.
Life could be a dream. Life could be a dream.
No one used this shit out of 10. Easy to get and practically an all-rounder weapon. 8 out of 10. The moveset variant is so ass. No one used this shit out of 10. Absolute ass. It's just a longsword with a little bit more crit damage. 9 out of 10. High functionality for any build with a nice reach and moveset, but farming it is terrible. 10 out of 10. Absolute ass. The heavy attack is really good for combos. Goated R2 out of 10. Another weapon does the same.
But better.
A 2 out of 10. Amazing design and functionality for fashion purposes. 9 out of 10. No one used this shit out of 10. No one used this shit out of 10, but this time gives you AIDS. The scalings are ass, but the heavy attack is amazing. Goated R2 out of 10. 8 out of 10. Buff weapon out of 10. Power drill out of 10. A pure faith holy lightsaber. What else do you need? 10 out of 10. a crutch weapon that only works on PvE, a nice punishment for not learning the game's mechanics. Kevin weapon out of 10. Nice concept, but rubbing a stick with sleep grease on an arcane build is far better. 6 out of 10. It's the same as the regular one, but longer and with a new coat of paint. Reskinned weapon out of 10.
That's a penis.
5 out of 10. Good reach and moveset, but it's used often to make another weapon perform even better. Buff weapon out of 10. It's the same as the last one, but with a shittier Ash of War. 8 out of 10.
今はあいつのために剣を振る。
You might bought this just to find the claymore 5 minutes later. Filler weapon out of 10. The good old reliable, this weapon doesn't need a review. It's just absolute cinema. It hits harder than your drunken dad. 8 out of 10. The only thing going for it is that slightly better crit multiplier. 6 out of 10. The moveset is peak, and you can use it in almost every build. 10 out of 10. Other than some minimal damage and range differences, it's the same as the Knight's Greatsword. Filler weapon out of 10. This weapon looks like shit, and it feels like shit as well. 0 out of 10. The innate bleed and the fact that you can infuse it makes it one of the best great swords to use in an affinity build. 8 out of 10. The only remarkable trait about this weapon is how fucking ugly it looks. 3 out of 10. Somehow they made it again, but this time is worse. And this visual effects are wrong. Huh? Amazing. 0 out of 10. No one used this shit out of 10. This thing has a pretty unique move set, a debuff, a passive ability, status effects, and it ends up working as a great sword with barbaric roar and shit bleed buildup. No one used this shit out of 10. What the fuck is that? Industrial power drill out of 10. Great for keeping pressure on your opponents or just nuke them. 8 out of 10. No one used this shit out of 10. You can find the Ash of War in the DLC, therefore this is worthless. When buffed, this thing hits harder than your abusive father figure. 9 out of 10. It's pretty shit on PvP since people think that pressing L2 towards a sentient person will work after the 23rd attempt. Kevin weapon out of 10. The requirements are ass, and the Ash of War is too slow to use it as a follow-up. 5 out of 10. Proof that you married a doll. It hits hard as fuck, though. 10 out of 10. It has the power to abuse the shitty netcode. 5 out of 10.
I got a Glock in my Rari.
But this Glock shoots Play-Doh. A 2 out of 10. It has the power to abuse the shitty netcode. 10 out of 10. Nice design, and it hits harder than your drunken dad. 8 out of 10. It has everything you could ever want, but why the fuck does it scale with Dex? 10 out of 10. Everyone and their mother use this thing because it's good. What a surprise. 10 out of 10. One moment of silence for all of those people who farmed this inferior version of the Great Sword. 6 out of 10. No one used this shit out of 10. No one used this shit out. The design is good. The Ash of War is kinda doo-doo, but you can still crouch poke with it. 7 out of 10. 40 levels and a 5-second endure with the press of a button. 10 out of 10. It's the same as the blasphemous blade, but bigger. L2 out of 10. The requirements demand you to create a build focused on this weapon exclusively. 7 out of 10. No one used it other than L2 spamming hosts. 5 out of 10. The damage and moveset of this weapon is a thing of beauty. Just absolute cinema. Great for people who like to poke. 10 out of 10. Pretty much an L2 spam weapon. The regular power stance moveset sucks dick. 5 out of 10. Same as the last one, but now the L2 sucks absolute dick. 0 out of 10. The weapon sucks if you don't use it to ledge opponents. 2 out of 10. It took 2 years to get this weapon fixed. Time to pay $40 for it. Filler weapon out of 10. All of these are good unless you have negative brain cells or a non-functioning R1 button. And if I had to pick ones that are kind of bad, I'd pick these two. The frozen needle is shorter than Patches' dick, and the Carrion sorcery sword is kind of useless since it's not a good weapon nor a good casting tool. It's just good and gets the job done. 10 out of 10. An S-stock, but 10 times beefier. 10 out of 10. A very stylish weapon that hits hard as fuck thanks to that bleed build-up. 9 out of 10. The inconsistent ash of war makes it the worst in its class, but it's not a bad weapon by any means. 8 out of 10. This thing hits harder than your daddy after getting hit by your drunken grandpa. 10 out of 10. Finally, a spear that doesn't suck balls. The fuck do you mean this is a thrusting sword? 8 out of 10.